Looking
Not
good.
Looking, yeah, we're on point.
We're on point. We're here, and
we?
we're in. So,
Okay.
welcome to the Martin Talk Show. I'm so excited to have you here because I've been listening to your music all morning. So, welcome to the podcast, Akashic Gods. Have I pronounced that right?
You definitely have Akashic Gods perfectly.
I did it correctly this time.
Absolutely, you got it this time, right?
oh, good. Because when we met, didn't we, recently at the premiere of Dream Hacker, and the clips out there on social media.
That was funny.
That's very typical of me. I'm not great with my dictional ways, but I do try, and so I'm pleased I got it right this morning.
But we got there in the end.
We did.
We got there in the end. So yeah, Akashic Gods. Thanks for having me on your show, Martin.
That's okay.
I
So
appreciate it.
your name, it's. I wonder if there's a meaning behind your name, if you know, because it sounds very powerful, as does your music. Give me a little background as to your name, first of all, if you know anything.
First of all, I'm an artist called Joy, but my artist name is Akashic Gods. Now, the background, speaking about the name, it comes from the realms of, it's partly quite spiritual philosophy as well, and it's didactic messages. Mm-hmm. Now, the Akashic, a lot of people will probably say, oh, we've heard about the Akashic records, and the Akashic records is basically about events that have been in the past and in the future, events that have taken place or are future yet to come. Mm-hmm. So it's a kind of... it's a very mystical topic.
Yes.
And it's very bizarre because I didn't even know about the Akashic records when I came up with the name Akashic Gods. That's the strange thing. It's just by pure coincidence.
Well, I don't know about these records. I need to know more.
The Akashic records.
Yes.
Basically, because I've written a first album, which was co-produced with a producer called Carlon Lewis. And basically, it was all the messages in the songs, because as I said, I'm quite spiritual. And so all these are kind of positive and messages of light, speaking the language of light. And also from my experience of the past to the future, because I've reinvented myself as an artist, as I said before, because I used to be a dance artist. So I'm now this alternative indie futuristic punk artists, indie rock type thing.
And your music has that style to it. Like I said, I've been listening to it I've been listening to you on Spotify all morning, and it has that vibe of the past, but something of the future.
There you go. Absolutely. And that's precisely that's just what I was coming. If that's great that you've actually managed to pick that up.
Yes.
Actually, from the music itself.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. It's all about the messages, to enlighten people, about enlightenment, as we said, just like it's all about, when we look into ourselves.
Yes.
So rather than us we're living in a very chaotic world as it is at the moment. So, and with this world of AI and tech and all that, we need actually to find ourselves more, go back to our roots as humanity, from where we come from, really. So basically, that's what the whole Akashic Gods, my messages in my songs are all about. The past, the future, what we can learn from the past going into the future, basically.
So as you started to develop your music, as you started to develop your character and the name, and you started to find out about these records, how did you interpret them? What did you take from these records? Because like I say, I haven't heard of them before. I don't know anything about these records of the past, these missing, as you say, these missing chapters in history.
It's, how could we put, it's when we're talking about the law of serendipity, and there are things that we cannot really explain. Mm-hmm. It's more surrounded with that, into that mythicism, right, and the mystery of it all, really. So, what's the point of that question again? Sorry, because there was something
So what I'm trying to get to is the link of how your name came from. You didn't know about the records beforehand.
No.
And yet there's such a big meaning to it, and like you say, this serendipity, this link. So as you've started to discover stuff, I want to learn more now. I want to start to discover about these links in the universe, how it all comes together, how serendipity works, and I want to find out what you've discovered.
Right. Okay. That because it's such a vast question, hence I had to
Yes,
get you to ask that question
yes.
again.
Sometimes I go there into these big ones.
Into the depths of the mind.
Yes.
Exactly. Good point. Now, this is it. Like, it's best to speak if I speak within context of my songs and the messages in terms of like the Akashic Gods. Like my first single, IE, was this single called Gods and Machines, and it was specifically about that. What we're talking about, you know, the gods as humanity, and then we've got the machines with the technology and the way we are going now. In the world we're living now, we are at a clash between man and machines. Man's scared of the machines taking over, although we're forgetting that we created the machines in the first place.
Yes.
And, you know, from our spiritual history, back to the Roman days, back to the days of, you know, BC, before Christ and after Christ, and where we are going now, you know, all these questions of the universe.
Yes.
There you go. It's the cosmic questions of the universe, like to do with the law of attraction, and all these subjects, basically, all within these my songs. Anyway, speaking within context of them, it's about like the messages within those songs speak about our connections as human beings with how the world is going, how questions that we need to question ourselves, question where we are going in the future with the advance of AI and technology and all that. So it's a bit of a mush because the album has got 10 songs, and all the songs, it's a didactic album. So every song is a message. So it's like kind of reading a book. So the whole aim is by the time if someone listens to the whole songs or even just one of the songs, they even get the messages from them. So they're questions that make you ponder, messages that make you ponder about our very existence
Wow,
as human beings.
that's really
basically.
powerful stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's the way to enlightenment, to lighten up people's minds, because at the moment, as you know, we are just all overcrowded in noise, this information overload.
Yes.
We're just scrolling, just look at our social media, everything's all the digital world, that we're forgetting the very essence of who we are as human beings and the spirituality. Why are we here? We have to question the cosmos, the pale blue dot, the astronauts, you know, in space and all this. These are these questions that we are neglecting, you know, that we're neglecting and not actually taking our time to look within ourselves. And these, the Akashic Gods message from the whole conception of the whole idea behind it is all about this, to get, people to listen and to understand themselves some more, look more within and have a better understanding of the universe, why we are, why we're here, what are we doing now, where are we going with where we are. So it's just about people just opening that part of the brain that we don't really kind of use, our subconscious mind, because all the answers are there, basically.
And so why do that through music? Why present these questions through music? Why not just sit down and read a book? Why not just go to school? Why not just listen to others talk? Why do you think music has so much power?
It's interesting you said why do that through music, because first and foremost, going back to my history, because I used to be a dance artist called Joy, and that is my name as well.
Yeah.
But then it was through the monotony and the lack of inspiration from just repeatedly just writing hooks, for example. And as a person, I've always really believed I'm quite spiritual. I do truly believe there's a higher power, whatever anyone wants to call it. I truly believe there's a force in the universe that makes us how we are today, what it is. So it's with my curiosity in finding out these questions. I actually, even before I embarked on this project, funnily enough, the Akashic Gods project, so to speak, I actually took a break from my dance roots to go and reinvent myself. And it was I took 5 years out. And in all those 5 years, that's what I was doing, reading about the universe, the laws of the mind, the power of the mind, the history, Plato, because I've got a degree in communications as well. So I studied literature, you see. So all these, going back to the days of Julius Caesar's, all these Plato and Socrates, all these kind of, because this is where we all originate from. We all originate from the past. So I've always had that within me as a person anyway.
Yes.
So after kind of just being disillusioned with the dance music side, not dance music is amazing, but the fact that I had a lot more inside me to speak about was when I decided, why not? I'm going to, and it was also as well through a very traumatic experience I went through that, as they say, you got to go through it to get to it. And it made me just realize I needed to disappear, find myself, because I lost myself. I did. I lost myself. I used to be a club promoter, running around in clubs, doing this, doing that. Back in the day as a model, you do lose yourself.
And I think from personal experience for me, I think it was so important for me to lose myself to be able to find myself.
Exactly.
And whilst that's so difficult and it can be quite dark to go through that space of being lost, my big hope with anyone that ever listens into any of this, that there is another side to that being lost. There is a way out.
And that was exactly what the Akashic Gods concept came about, because I was totally lost in space, literally, as you said. That's perfect. And that's where I found myself thinking I was writing these songs without even knowing the term Akashic Gods or anything. And it was just after writing them, I had to think of a name that I thought, how would this go, what could represent my messages, the concepts, that more importantly. And that's how it just came about, like that. So I just put it down. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So there's a reason, you know what I mean, why these things happen as they happen, basically. So yeah.
I believe that in that space of being lost, of not knowing what to do with your life, or not knowing what the world is about, within there is an opportunity to pause and to look back, like you've done, to look back at not just your past, but the past of human history, and start asking questions. And as you start to do that, you start to find something new, and you start to find something that fits through asking the questions,
Absolutely.
through asking why, through asking how, what, where, when, through
all the whys,
the big W's and the
W's,
is what I like to call
it.
them.
That's what I call it. Yeah, the big W's.
and through and going through that time, through that space, then you're able to, I believe, from myself and through what I've seen from others, is that's where you start to find your true purpose.
Absolutely. I remember once, I can't even remember, I went to this thing one time and they were just talking about that. It's like finding your truth. There you go.
Yes.
You've got to find your truth. And the only way to find your truth is by sitting still and going within yourself. And just as we just said, you've got to lose yourself sometimes to find yourself. How do we know right from wrong if we only have to do wrong and pay the consequences to know that was wrong to do it? So you now know that the right thing to do is not to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, so like going back to when we were children, my point of being lost was in my late 30s, was my period of being lost, and it lasted for a year, 2 years of this space of everything didn't work out, and I felt like a failure, and through just pausing, stopping, then coming out of that the other side and finding the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, that every failure that I had before accounted for what I'm doing now.
It becomes a building block.
Yes.
You've hit the nail on the head. It becomes a building block, quite practically so. Yeah, it does, like stepping stones. And so you have to know what you don't like in order to find out what you do like. And that's the essence of the growth. Why questions? We never stop asking questions. And as I said in one of my songs, that Gods and Machines, at the end of it, it just says, free your mind from the matrix. Question everything. See, that's the whole point. It's the messages. So we have to try and enlighten ourselves. I mean, because when you think of the human mind, we only use, is it 1/4 or even 1/3? A tiny fraction. And if you think we've got 100% of our mind and we're only using that tiny fraction, imagine what we could do.
If we unlock
harness the power of the human mind. And that's what the fascinating thing I find personally, I find that absolutely, it's what drives me. That's what the main thing is for, just to open people's eyes, because I think the world we're blind at the moment. We are truly blind at the moment.
So how have you managed to open your eyes then? Take me back to where this all started for you. You've lived a life of creativity. You've lived a life in the arts. You say you was a dancer before.
And
Let-
so a model,
A,
fashion
a
model.
fashion model,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so yeah. Take me back to the beginning where you started to find your way in life, and you just started to discover who you were.
Right. So, as we've just said, yeah, I used to be a fashion model before, and I've traveled all over the world. So first things first. So, went to had to go to university,
Hmm.
and traveled. Then I was modeling, kind of doing both at the same time, really. And after the modeling, I just realized that there's more to it than just standing there looking pretty and doing absolutely nothing, because we got to be able to use our brains. And that's also a message for all the younger kind of viewers out there. It's not about looks. It really is about getting some serious skills, that you can use. Education, for instance, get educated, go to school, use skills, so that if anything, because beauty's only skin deep. That I'm talking about the fashion industry that I was in at the time. And so I got bored of that, and I just decided I'm going to university. Had enough now. I need to use my brain. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I went to university, and speaking about this, actually studied communications, and in that degree, it did. This is where I actually, good question, that, because now thinking about it actually enlightens me to actually the core of where those messages come from, because it's understanding with the subjects I had to do, the psychology of the human mind, anthropology, the study of human behavior and all that, and the science of the mind, science of language and all that kind of stuff. So that actually started opening doors to making me understand that, wow, there's all this information out there. So finished doing the degree. Okay, fine, fair enough. From the modeling, and you're always out. That's how I ended up. As a model, you're traveling all over the world, all different countries, and all that. But then from modeling, I ended up in knowing all these people in the club scene, in the party scene, in the London party scene.
Yes.
So yeah, so I did a few clubs out there. One was called Fur Coat No Knickers, very successful club.
Right.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
press everywhere. Yeah,
Okay.
in all the big London clubs, like
Yes.
Cafe de Paris, all the name clubs. Back in the day, it was
Yeah.
hugely successful. We had lots of celebrities, a
Nice.
lot of them. It was really good.
Yeah.
But from that, so that's how the fashion merged into the club scene. Now, from the club scene, on top of that, of course, there's music. Music's always been my number one love, first and foremost. Music is a huge part of my life. So through the music, from the clubs, that's how I ended up with a management company. So I had a few hits out there, and same thing. After a while, you're doing that, and then you just think, going out there performing dance hits, traveling here, there, and everywhere. But after a while, you got that kind of. Just decided I needed a break, and then I had this traumatic incident in my life that made me question myself, and that's at that point. That's why I decided that, right, from the dance scene, I need to go away and find myself in turn, because being in those, and this is the issue with, you get a lot of celebrities out there. You can see celebrities come, celebrities go. They're dying, drugs, this party, and all that. It's a mad world out there. I've been there. I've had the highs and I've had the lows. I know what it is to be as high as as they say, when you laugh, the world laughs with you. When you weep alone. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
And it's in those moments when you're weeping alone, so to call, when the curtains come down and all the parties, everything's done, and you're left with yourself, you realize I found myself in a very shallow, hollow place. Who am I? I gave my whole soul to everyone else without actually taking care of myself. And it was in these intricate moments, I call them this traumatic period, that gave birth to this idea that, right, I'm now going back to go and find out who am I. I disappeared for 5 years, didn't go out. I just became a hermit, reading, doing what I had to do, working, doing whatever I had to do, but actually taking time to understand myself. And it's through that came the birth of this new concept with the Akashic Gods. And I decided I'm reinventing myself now. So I've reinvented myself, and here I am today as Akashic Gods. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
basically the story. So it's just one from one career path led to the other, and
Everything had this was
it's a
naturally
natural
a
progression,
natural
not
progression of
forced.
everything going into everything nice and smoothly. But then there was at some point it didn't feel so smooth anymore.
Wasn't.
How did that feel at that moment when it started to feel like it was going wrong, and what was that for you?
Oh, nightmare. Basically, I mean, this is just parts, not going into too much details, when you say the pitfalls of the music industry with a lot of artists when we don't know our rights. Yeah, you don't know your rights, and then you're writing songs, and and this is how I had to go and learn the hard way myself with the business. I got a great opportunity, and I lost that opportunity basically because I just didn't even know simple things like registering your songs, your big hits, and just knowing the business side of things. And when
Yes.
you've worked for something for so long and you finally have it in your hand, and then you realize that all your future is in the hands of somebody else, and they're messing about and not exactly doing what they should be doing, and that's why you get a lot of disillusioned artists because of that. So I went through that pitfall. You know
So,
what I
so
mean?
having gone through that, then what advice would you give to any young artists coming up? What is the first thing that someone should be doing to? It sounds like self-care, looking after yourself. It sounds like knowing a little bit of knowledge of knowing the industry.
Oh, 100%. You don't go into this with your blind because you just get ripped off left, right, and center. Yeah. The advice I would give, first things first, you need to know what you want. Specifically, we're talking about, say, going into the music industry. You need to know your truth. Don't try and copy. Be authentic. That's the only thing I would suggest. Be authentic. Be true to yourself. Now, also, it's mental health is one of the most important things, especially being an artist, as music artists. We all know music artists. It's a very it's very fickle. It's a difficult industry here and there. Where everyone wants the overnight things. Everyone wants to be it. But if you go in with that ideology, like I want to be famous, I want to be this, but no, it doesn't work like that, because you need to be true to yourself. If you want to be an artist, I would suggest do your research, learn how to write, read. Reading is so important, gathering knowledge. It's vital. Read, know, have messages, write positive songs, self-care, taking care of yourself, also learning the business, not just the creative side of it, but the business side of it, going into it so that you're more better prepared. And so basically you're not let down by disappointments through ignorance. And that's what happened to me, basically. Because just not knowing the business side of things, so to speak, I'm saying.
So what happened? Are you okay to talk about what happened to you to make it all come to a full stop?
Well, I don't really want to, because, it's to do with, you get a deal and then you realize it's not really in your hands. It's not in your hands. It's in the management's hands, and so, and this is what made me become an independent artist. Because if I had known the business side of things beforehand, I wouldn't have agreed to terms, or i.e., I had a buyout. I was made to do a buyout on a track that I wrote myself. You know what I mean? And these tiny little things that track could have revolutionized.
There we go. We got that.
Revolutionized.
It could have
stuff.
changed everything.
It could have changed everything, only to get there and you realize that, this wasn't what what it was meant to be. And this was, you think if you leave it, this is where the advice to people: do your research, know the music business, the business side of it.
Yes.
Because at the time, I'm only an artist just thinking of writing, and that's about it.
You're creating the magic. You're
creating the magic, but not knowing the business side.
There's a group of people there that are only interested in the finance, in the money.
Absolutely.
And so they will do whatever they can to get to the money.
And not necessarily taking care of the artist's needs. And this is the problem with a lot of artists, where a lot of artists get ripped off because we just don't know we just don't really know our rights. So I had to go and learn the business. And that was devastating. As you said, when you're asking me what was that traumatic thing, that was absolutely devastating to find out that, hang on a minute. I wrote that song. I did this. How come this didn't happen? How come that didn't happen years later? when it's already passed, when you could have. So I learned the hard way. Yeah, I got bitten the hard way. Music, and a lot of artists, it's just the norm in this day and age. So that's why that traumatic experience just kind of put me off, kind of like, I would say, having management or letting other people control the music for me. Hence, I decided this time round, I'm going to do this myself. So I knew all the pitfalls, what caused the trauma, all the things I left behind before, all the things I didn't know that I've learned now, and that's what I'm now applying to myself. Hence, I'm an independent artist.
So now that you've found this space to be independent, as you look back on that, how do you feel about that time now? Did that need to happen?
Oh, if it didn't happen, I won't be sitting here right now, and this whole Akashic Gods project wouldn't have even taken place anyway. Yeah, at all. I mean, because I have to also give credit to who I'm working with. I've got it's a producer called Carlon Lewis, who's absolutely amazing. He produced like all the tracks I've done, and in his studio and all that. And I also do now have a live guitarist called Richard Pedestro, and so I've taken them on board. So we're the Akashic Gods team.
Wow.
But so for all my live shows, so all of us together, we've come together to obviously make all this happen at the moment. So yeah, really.
But yeah, so whilst it may have felt like it was actually a stop, it was actually continuing on that path of things rolling into each other then.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though it was a hard moment.
Hard is even an understatement. It was brutal.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. But that, as we just said, that's what makes us grow stronger, by learning from I think my past mistake in the music business, just so to speak, was just ignorance of the music business side of it. That was my biggest crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's my best advice to any artist. Go and learn the business side, publishing, rights, and all that. Because otherwise you're doing it for nothing. You know, so that's the most important thing. It's not just about the glory and the fun to be out there. It really doesn't mean anything. You know, if you want to try and make a living from it, you've got to know the business side. So that's my strongest advice to people out there. But also, having said that, from where one is now in this day and age, the whole point, my whole drive, my objective, and my mission is just I'm very passionate about trying to, for the better of humanity, to open people's eyes to see what is out there, so that we are not controlled. It's about escaping the status quo. It's just and escaping the dogma. It's all about dogma, really. So, and that's where we're all capable as human beings to do absolutely anything we want, but we're stifled by all the noise and everything. You could do anything you want to be in this life. I didn't give up. I don't care what it is. A failure is not an option.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not an option whether I make it or
that.
not. It doesn't make any difference. But as long as I tried, it's not about fame. It's not about glory. I have zero interest in that. The most important thing for me is getting a message out there for people so that we can harness the power within ourselves. And then that's the only way we can better humanity, by opening our eyes, so that we all just become, like it's just like it's for mankind's sake, basically, So there's better good, because there's a lot of magic out there within us. And if we all put that together all as one, we can create miracles and really good things that happen. So hopefully that's why I think music, as you said, music's one of the most powerful tools anyway, as we all know, getting messages out. And that's just basically why, no matter what, that's what drives me to actually give these messages through my music anyway.
That's so important. And this is resonating with me so much, this conversation, because I'm a believer in magic.
Oh, wow.
I believe I believe magic. I believe I've experienced magic. I believe I've lived magic. I believe I've seen it. I've had experiences that I can't explain. And you said as well that you're spiritual, and I wonder where your spirituality comes from. Is that something that's just naturally comes to us, or if that's something we find?
Good question. For me, I would say because when I was younger, my dad used to take us to church. So I go to church, and even up until today, I believe in, there is a higher power, Well, and so, yeah, I would say it's through the church,
Hmm.
learning the word of light and the teachings of the gospel, because, yes, that's where my spirituality comes from. And to be honest, that's the only thing that actually took me out of that traumatic experience I went through my faith. It's faith. I truly believe there is a higher God up there, and I give him all the thanks and all the glory to him,
Mm.
because no matter what anyone says, there is a God out there, whether they accept it or not. Everyone's got their own gods, wherever there is, or whatever they want to call him, or whatever it is. There is a higher power, and that's the higher power I believe in. And that higher power, I've seen miracles with my own two eyes.
Mm.
I've seen it, everything happening now. I don't put it down to me or whatever. It's down to the power of the Almighty up there. And that is just a fact, because he works in mysterious ways. You just never know. As we say, we believe in magic, there are miracles,
Hmm.
all these sort of things happen as we speak. I don't plan for them to happen. They just happen as they happen. So it's whatever you believe in. And that's also where, just what you said, where the power of the mind comes in.
Hmm.
It's learning the power of manifestation, what you think in your mind, and all coupled with faith, because you got to have good intentions,
Yeah.
whatever. Not even if you might not be religious in a way or spiritual in a way, that doesn't make any difference either way. If you think positive and you can manifest using the power of the harness of thoughts, you
Mm.
can absolutely do anything you want. So yeah, in that terms, that's my view on that, really.
Yeah, I believe within that manifestation, we have a choice. We have a
Yeah.
choice of leaning into this dark side of the world, or whether we want to lean into the lighter side. And I'm a strong, but the symbol yin and yang.
Yes.
That you've got there is an equal balance.
Absolutely.
However, at times, I think things start to go in the world. They start to shift. They start to shift more towards the darkness, and then they go towards the light. And I think we're in a time where more people are feeling like we're in a dark space.
Very, very
Like you
dark.
say, this information overload isn't healthy for us. There are a lot of bad things going on, and there are bad people, and those
Yeah.
bad people are being
Oh,
very loud.
they're taking over the world.
So what do we do about that?
Yeah. Good question. That. What do we do about it? Just educating people, and that comes from also what I call it is called the spirit of discernment. Back to our spirituality.
Mm.
Each and every one of us as humans, we all have a gut feeling, don't we?
Yeah.
When we see something we like or we don't like, if you meet someone you like or you don't like, your gut intuition never ever lets you down.
Mm.
That's what we got to tap into. It's knowing, being able to know the difference between, that's what spirit of discernment is essentially about, being able to witness a situation or a person or an incident,
Hmm.
and be able to, in that space, that thought, to be able to rationalize, where is this coming from, what field of energy is this coming from, a dark place or a positive place. And depending on who that person is or who you are, your core essence as a person, you make choices whether I'm going to do the right thing or I'm going to do the wrong thing. Now, as we were speaking just earlier on, saying that this world as we live in today is just covered with darkness. It's everything around us, the news. There's so much negativity
Mm.
out there. And it's very difficult to escape because it's around us 24 hours.
Yeah.
Our phones are this, they're designed for this,
Yeah.
to keep us locked down into thinking. They just don't want us to
Well,
use our
the
minds.
biggest form of currency has become attention.
It's become attention.
Mm.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying there's so much noise out there that people aren't stopping to listen, and so when you're so busy and you're so busy distracted by media, music, this, everything, you don't have time to even stop and think, actually, how am I even feeling about all this? How am I feeling? So people were just being swept away. We're living outside of ourselves than living inside of ourselves. And it's by living inside of yourself, that's when you actually stop and you're still and that's when you start to see clearly. You see clearly. Have you noticed if you go away, you're pondering a question, go sleep on it, the next day you get the answer. And it's through these kind of things that we have to be able to just stop, take a step back, and then look, because there's a lot of everyone's just out for themselves. That's the other thing. Every man for himself these days, and no one's really thinking about the greater good of mankind. Look at the state of the planet. Even poor Mother Earth, it's even had enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the poor Earth itself, the planet. Look at the weather changes and all this. It's all because of we're not thinking.
So when we say to look in within, that isn't necessarily a selfish space, is it?
Oh,
That's
absolutely not. That's
no.
where the answers lie. That's where the answers lie. Because if I wrote this track, when I said I went through this very, very traumatic thing, and it was to do with the music and this, and then actually coming out of it, I had to write this track called Orbit to Landfall. And it was specifically about that. And it was like I've traveled through madness to find me from orbit to landfall. In spirit of truth, I rise set free from the enemy within the spirit in me. You see? Wow. So we have to channel what's on the inside, as we say, to go. We have to destroy ourselves. It's only after I destroyed myself I realized who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just how it is, So, but then again, it's also to do with the mentality, because everything starts in the mind. It's all a state of mind. Everything is a state of mind. So, just depending on what one's objective is according to their state of mind, or what they find important in their lives, that's, everyone chooses their own path. But I just think the way with the world is today, nobody knows tomorrow. And I truly, really think, and that's why I was reading, saw on the news the other day, saying a lot of the younger generation are now trying to find some form of spirituality. A lot.
Spirituality
A
is
lot now. Because, they said it was on the news just the other day, for the first time ever, there's been a huge increase in, I think, 18 to 24s. All of them all running back to church or trying to rebook to spirituality because of all the darkness and all these things going on in the world.
I think that people are finding something's missing.
Something's missing. That's what they said.
Something is out of balance.
Something's out of balance.
Yeah, like we say, the darkness in the world is rising up. The darkness is being very loud.
Yeah.
So we as human beings don't want it to be to be that way, do we? We want to shift it back to the light. And so in doing so, I guess that spirituality is the place where we can try to find some answers and how to do that, potentially.
Absolutely. And that you hit the nail on the head, because pretty much, just as I said, because we are speaking about music, as an artist, and that's my track, Weapons in Space. That was exactly what it was about, the light and the darkness, because space is all full of black. It's all dark. We're talking about the physical space up there in the sky. It's all space, but it's just like a ray, just like a flame of a candle. Can actually, you could see that flame of a candle in the pitch black, and that's where the light comes in. You see, so it's all these messages in these songs, and it's quite interesting that it's actually they're quite useful for this period of time that we're living in, because it's like music's not just to make noise, it's messages. As we say, it's the most powerful thing. Music, if people are listening to messages, we need to listen now. And also just to save even our planet from what's going on right now. We need to save our planet. And the only way we could do that is if we try and come together, because right now we're all fractured as a society, as humanity. Only God knows where we're going from here. But for those, at least we can try and do the best that we can in this short amount of time that we have, with what's going on, with the turbulence in the world and with the state of the earth right now. The only way we could try and do, however little it is maybe just open people's eyes a little bit. Come on, guys, let's all get together and let's try and make things better for humanity, basically, in a nutshell. So it's food for thought.
At this point in the conversation, this is a question that I now ask all of my guests. It's a very big one, and there's not one answer to this. How do we make this a better world?
How do we make this a better world? It's a tough task, that, to make it a better world. at the moment. I think if you say, how are we going to make this a better world? It's the same thing, knowledge, educating people. Because without change, we can't make it a better world. The only way we can make it a better world is for there to be change, is for us to change. And how do people change? People only change by having the right knowledge given to them in order for them to change in the first place. Because we can only make this a better world in a collective sense. One person can't do it. It's a massive job. It's a collective kind of thing where we all have to band together. Let's think of things that we could do. Global warming, whatever they're trying to do, or this or that. Educate kids. That's the only way. Actually, through our children. To be honest, I feel for the kids growing up in this day and age, because with the way I'm just speaking, with the way the Earth is at the moment, with all this global warming and changes, it's like sitting on a minefield. We do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think with our children of today, they are the key to actually educating them, when they're young, getting their minds, opening their minds from a very early age. And that's why, in a way, I even agree on this ban on social media for under 16s. I totally agree on it, on the phones, because those are the most formative years when they should be interacting with people, not on a screen and looking at nonsense,
100%.
wasting
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting you go there, because one of my last guests on the podcast was my 10-year-old niece. She sat down on the podcast and we had this conversation.
Right.
And when I asked her that exact same question, she said exactly the same answer as you.
No way.
And she said that we should be protecting children against social media.
No
That
way.
we should.
There you go.
She's not watching the news. She doesn't know what's going on in the world right now.
Right.
But she went straight to, we should be looking after children.
Absolutely.
As a 10-year-old, she's saying, look after me. Look after me. Children are saying it.
There you go.
And my mind keeps,
That's
as we're having this
interesting.
conversation as well, my mind's now going to what Whitney Houston said or sung.
Is it the children?
The children are our future.
Our future. I was thinking that when you asked
Let
me,
them lead the way.
Show them all the beauty they possess inside. And exactly. And this, the advent of all these smartphones, because this is even another topic that could go. These smartphones, they're all designed for a reason, to take away our attention. You know what I mean? They do not want us to know what is really going on. It's all designed for a reason. That's what the word populace is about, popular culture. So it's part of what I studied in my degree in university, communications. And so that's why they try just to keep us from knowing the truth and knowing what is really out there, because they've always said if everybody knows too much, then there can be no order. They don't want everyone to know too much, But with our children, it's the children that are going to make the change, the real change, to protect the future, not as we are right now, because too many people have got their own agendas. But with these innocent children, ban this social media, let them go back to the basics of learning how to communicate, and most importantly, is also the type of music they are listening to. That is the biggest danger, because people go on Spotify, they're listening to all these explicit lyrics, and all these kids are going out there thinking social media influencer, guns, violence, and all that. It's a nightmare, and they're surprised that there's all this knife crime and all this.
Music has always fed consciousness, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Always, from the beginning of humanity.
Even when we're children, that's the first thing we begin. Nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes. That's what leads our consciousness. And if we're leading children with music that's to do with violence, to do with negativity, I think there's a space for it, but I don't think that space is for children.
Yeah. Absolutely, because that's the thing. Obviously, children's minds are just like sponges, and if they're fed with certain sorts of information, that's just what they're going to grow up behaving like, believing in, and with all kind of stuff like that, really, So I just think, it all, and also the national curriculum as well. I also think that should, they should start including. This is just from a personal perspective, things more spiritual kind of things that It doesn't have to be, it could be anything, but just things that make kids wonder. How does humanity, how are we? Why is our world the way it is now? Questions, questions, questions,
It
questions.
almost feels like it felt like for me when I was
Yeah.
young that they didn't. I've always had a very inquisitive mind,
Yeah.
but I felt like that was worked out of me by school. I felt like it was here's the information,
Yeah.
learn that.
Learn that
Here's,
without being
yeah,
shown. Right.
without actually asking me to go deeper, without actually asking me to question why history looked that way, why this, why that. It was just learn this and repeat it in a test.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was it, and I
Yeah.
failed because of that, because that didn't suit me. I didn't understand that. But I think, yeah, if we could get children exploring, if we could get the next generation looking at the different religions of the world, not just one, all of them.
All of them.
Oh,
All of them.
look at all of them, and look at what they all have to offer, and why they have benefited different cultures at different times in history. I think we have a potential there then to make things different, don't we, through them?
I think that you've hit the nail on the head on that one. That is the only way, because as that's why I always went back to say, whatever you believe in, a higher power. Some people believe in God, they don't. Some people do. It doesn't matter. But
Hmm.
whatever you do believe in, whatever higher power you do believe in, try and harness and tap into that energy. Tap into that energy. And it's also to do with the parents.
Yeah.
Because it's to do with the parents, and this is all to do with the change in. It's all a state of mind. Everything begins in the mind. This everything where we are, everything is all in the mind of humans. It's all in our minds. And right now, because of the state of how we are and where things are at the moment, we're a long way down the line. I just think God help us all right now. But seriously, yeah, but it's what can we do now to make things better? And just as you said, it's just our children. And hopefully, as we just say, if this banning that social media thing, and that is the most important thing, and letting them grow up to be a bit more human, to think more like humans. Because the other thing, are you aware? This is the sad thing, that because of all the advent, you see kids in buggies with with their little phones and their computers. Now,
Yes.
children don't even know how to have conversations on the phone.
This is when
I
the
was heard. Did you hear that? They
yeah.
don't. There was a course having to teach them how to have
Yeah,
conversations
yeah, and I have
on the
this.
phone.
Well, I have this with my my own children
I have
sometimes.
it with myself. I have an issue with that. Don't
Yeah,
you know how to use the phone?
yeah.
No.
So I say to my children, like, say hello. When you ring me or I ring you, say hello. That's how we start. That's like an engagement moment there to check we're
Yes.
both okay. And then when we leave, say goodbye. But that generation is struggling with that. They're struggling with that with some quite basic,
Basic.
human interaction moments, because of the technology has almost come on us too fast, hasn't it?
That's the
It's
thing. It's
almost
going faster than mankind can keep up.
can keep
Up with it.
So there's not a moment for us to adjust.
Yeah. It's funny you said that as well, because another funny thing I saw on the news just less than 4 or 5 days ago. I don't know if you're aware of this, because the government, they've now it's now free AI courses for everyone in England.
Right.
Yeah, because they know advanced. The technology is just getting too fast with the jobs with AI and all this. So now, officially from now,
Right.
anyone, me or you, just go and find out. I think it's on the .gov website. Free AI courses for anybody.
Okay,
Everyone in England
and
to
they're
help
doing
us.
that because they know that that's
Because that's
that's
why. Because
approaching
why?
on us.
No, they know they're doing it because of it. Because they say AI is becoming too advanced. It's too fast. They're scared that us as humans, people, we are not going to keep up with it. So now they've done this now thing where every single person can go on a free course AI training. Just the basics to get it, because of that, because they're now, and I'm seeing it happening all over now. It's taking over us. We don't know what's real anymore. We don't know what's fake.
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Even I saw something the other day, and I got a pretty shock.
You have to, you have to double.
You can't even tell.
Yeah,
it looks it's scary.
Yeah, I saw an advert earlier this morning that I had to double watch it to realise it wasn't real. It was someone had been on Dragon's Den presenting their
Okay.
business, but it was only the way that the legs moved that I was like, people's legs don't move like that. And that's where that was the only bit of the whole video that I knew was able to tell it wasn't real. That has changed this year, hasn't it? It's changed within a year how close it is.
Hugely.
And I'm actually surprised that we haven't had a moment yet within our culture where someone hasn't been taken to court for a video and them just saying this isn't real. Prove it's real.
Prove it.
Prove it's real. A video of one of our politicians doing something they shouldn't be doing, and they're going, prove it's real.
This is the problem now.
So we're at the moment of we can't believe our eyes and ears.
That's the problem now. And that's precisely why they said now, everyone, the whole society, everyone, go and do these free AI courses.
We need to be aware.
We need to be aware because it's a really dangerous thing. It's really dangerous. I mean, look at the scams. Look at what's going on. We're living in a digital age. Yeah. We're living in an age right now where machines we literally are taking over. Did you see that thing, what Elon Musk said? I think soon there's going to be more robots than humans or something like that they're doing in the States. And it's really, really concerning. And, it's really concerning. As we said, it's just for our poor children, that next generation, because if they are not taught the right way from right to wrong, then there's no hope.
This is why it's so. We're at a pivotal moment in history. We're at a moment of making a big choice here, aren't we? What do we want the future to look like?
Yeah.
And so we need to action on that. This isn't a time for just sitting around.
It's past that now.
It's past that. This is the time for real action. This is the time for, looking after. It's really important that we brought up about the younger generation, the children being the future, because they literally are.
They are our future. They literally
everything.
are.
So every decision we make will affect them.
Absolutely.
Responsibility time for us, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what could we say? I mean, as you that point you mentioned, technology is moving so fast, faster than we can keep up. We just haven't got a clue anymore. Hence, as I said, they're saying go on these courses now to go and sharpen up your minds and learn, because we're, with the advent of AI now taking over, that's pretty much how it is. But as we say, we need to educate ourselves. Educate, as we say, the younger generation, and there will be the only things that can make the change. But even most importantly as well, because I'm a strong advocate for, all these social media, these platforms and all that, where kids can get onto the type of content that they can see, to censor them and all that. Yeah. They have a huge responsibility as well into even the young adults of today.
Yes.
Because in all reality, the youth of today, all they're thinking about is influencers, social media, to be this, to be an artist, to be this. But they don't really know the truth behind
what that means.
What that all means.
No, because
it's all an illusion.
All they're seeing is that thing that we mentioned before, that attention is the new currency. Attention is money. And they're seeing that and going, well, that's the space that I want to be in. But why? Then this is what I try to say to every young artist that I meet. Why do you want to do this?
Why? That's a good, yeah. What do they say? I bet half of them don't even know what to say. What do they say?
Do you know what? From what it's about 50-50. Because I think there is something within us as human beings that is naturally wanting to be creative. And if you are a creative and you do want to pursue the arts, there's something deep within us that's making us want to do that.
Regardless, yeah.
Whether we know it up here, we know it here, and that takes a little while for to connect
That's
the
a very
two.
Good point.
I do think it's about 50-50, and I can kind of get a good gauge on people now where they're at with that.
Okay.
But then there are some that are just, I think it's those that are money driven, that are driven by not the art, that are driven by, oh, I just want a nice car. I want to go on holidays. I want the nice car. Things, possessions.
Yeah, the material side.
The material side of the world. Those are the ones that I see that are lost, that can't answer that question.
That question, yeah.
The ones that are caught up in that's what's being plugged into the matrix is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
Possessions.
Exactly.
So as I find those people, it's hard to show them or get them to see the why, because they're so deep in possessions. But yeah, if they can look past that, if they can see that there's value to the stuff that they're creating, then
Absolutely.
within that space is they can start to find something.
And just what we were just saying before, as I was saying, that's why the point is when you asked the question, what advice could you give to any young artists or people wanting to go in there? And I'm saying the first thing, just go and educate yourself. Yeah, go. You know, not mean educate yourself, meaning go and read up, learn on topics that also good. Another good learn on topics. Okay, you want to be an artist? Yeah, I want to do music. Okay, yeah, great. Okay, ask yourself why. Okay, two, you know why. What resonates passionately with you as a person or as an artist? Research that subject. Find the positive things within that subject. Sing about those. Write about those positive things within that subject. And when you learn and you research, then you have more knowledge. Then you have that knowledge you use to write more songs with more deepful meanings. You see what I mean? And it's
And it will resonate with
and it will
people.
resonate with people because it's real. You know, that's why it's when you have real messages. Also, and that's as we say, anything you have to learn. We always do our research at school. We read and we do this, you know, to get more information. And by doing that, then it resonates. Then you find you've got more substance. There you go. You find you've got more substance. And those artists, as you say, the 50% that know what they want to do. We're not driven, i.e., I'm not driven, as we said, I'm not driven by the money, for the fame. If I don't make £1, I don't really care. As long as the message got up there, and we do know in this day and age, who makes money from it? It's difficult these days. But it's for the love of it and the money, the love of it, not for the love of the money, but for the love of the reason why you're doing it. And that's where intention comes in. You know, that's where it becomes real. It's what are you doing this for? So, you know, like as for me, I'm doing it for the greater good of mankind, to enlighten people, because I feel very strongly, very don't like the state of the world as it is. Nobody does right now, you know, with all we know what's going on. And it's just a total mess. And it's the tiny little thing we could do, any tiny little thing we can do to change it, as I say, even if it's via messages in songs, good. Let one person hear that. Oh, they'll start thinking. Let's use our brains, people. Let's open our eyes, open the doors to perception, you know? And that's how we make the change. And rule number one, as we said again, protect our young children, you know, show them the way, give them the right information so their brains, when they're forming, they're seeing what being more wise, to be able to make wise decisions, wise choices. That's the only way we're going to change this world in all reality, moving forward. Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is, but it's our moment to rise up and take responsibility with it.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a $64 million question that right now, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
So here's one for you then. Here's somewhere I would really like to go with you. I'd like to go to a place of our imagination now in this conversation.
Okay.
And I would like to, on this podcast, we can time travel.
Well, okay,
So I would actually like to go back to when you were a child and find a moment within your childhood that you would like to re-meet yourself. Where would you go?
I've never been asked that before. That's a really strange question. That's so interesting. To time travel, if I could go back to myself when I was a child, what would I?
Where would you go in your childhood?
Well, as a child, I used to love, to be honest, music. That's the only place by my dad's stereo, blasting it to God knows. I'm listening to all. That's the only, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Actually, is just by the stereo. You know, those old stereos we have blasting, listening to music and going through the vinyls, and that was just used to basically be there in my dad's bedroom all day. And in my bedroom, in the sitting room, just listening and listening, and this is surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of records. That's the only place as a child I would go back to, because that's the only thing that resonates in my mind, strangely enough. Didn't know that, but yeah.
So as we're there, as we're sitting, you know, you could take a seat down next to your younger self. What would you have to say to yourself? Would you give words of advice? Would you?
Yeah.
What would you say anything at all?
I'd say, isn't it funny? I haven't even stopped for words on that one. I would say, speaking about that, if I could look back at myself now, I would say I could have made some more responsible choices.
So, so you try and parent yourself.
Yeah, I'll try and parent myself because I've got to admit I've made some wrong decisions, irresponsible
Yeah.
decisions as a
Yeah.
teenager growing up, as we all do. You know, and we say,
Yeah.
"Ah, you shouldn't have done that." Well, you've learned the hard way now, haven't you, dear? You know what I mean? Oops, don't do this. Yeah, yeah, I would go back and parent myself and just think, look, you know what I mean? But we can't be because we don't know. Because when we're children, we're ignorant to what is right.
Mm.
Sorry, we're ignorant to the consequences. Better, there you go. That's a better way.
Mhm.
We're quite ignorant to the consequences of our the foolish actions that we could take as kids because we can't see it. But as we were saying, if we're going to go back to where I was,
Mhm.
there's lots of things I've done that I wouldn't do knowing
You
if
wouldn't
I
do
knew what
now,
I
but
know
you had to
now.
go
But
through
I had
them.
to go through that. And if
Mhm.
I didn't go through
Yeah.
that, there's no way. Who we are, even you, me, anyone, whoever we are today is a result of our has-beens.
Mm.
And whatever the result of where we are today, your life, your situation, or whatever it is, it's all as a result of your choices. That's another thing. As a result of the choices that you've made, good or bad. If you've made bad decisions, then you find yourself in a bad place. If you do good things, then you find yourself in a good place. And that's the other thing as well. Good question. What I strongly believe in is the people like the positivity. It's because, a lot of people they're just out just for themselves. They all just want to take what's there for them. But a lot of people, I think we need to be more giving and more compassionate,
Mhm.
because I strongly believe in karma. What goes around comes around. If you're a good person, you help somebody 2 years ago or 3 years ago, although you do it without expecting anything from them or whatever at the time, things go round. This is just what we're talking about. These magical things. Everything all happens for a reason.
And it's all connected.
It's all connected. It's like joining the dots.
Mhm.
Everything happens for a reason. And that's why I seriously believe in things happen to people for a reason. If you've got your things, what you're working on, if you're a nice person, you're not stepping on anyone's toes to make what you want, you're doing things in good faith,
Mhm.
then positive things happen. But
Yeah.
when people are out there trying to step on people's toes, trying to rise above by doing things the wrong way, then, as we say, karma will always come back and get you in the end. Then you find yourself in a negative place. And that's why I believe this is where the essence of the soul comes in and the essence of who you or I or anyone is as a person. Nothing is hidden under the sun. It's just a matter of time before the true whoever the person or what it is comes out. Because you can't. Eventually, everything will out. So that's why the stance of where we are today and everything is all a result of past choices and the energy, that law of attraction, the energy, karma, whatever you may want to call it, serendipity, whatever it is. It's all as a result of you as an individual person, the choices you've made, where you're going with what you're doing or whatever it is today with your ambition.
It's all a ripple effect,
It's all a
Lee.
ripple
It's
effect.
like, yeah, it's all a ripple effect as we throw stones into the pond of life. It all spreads
Yeah.
out. So as you were with the young Joy, you were there by the speaker and you spoke to her for a moment. She's quite curious at this point and would like to go to the future. So we allow her to jump in the time machine as well. So I'm just
I
coming up with
love the
this as
time
bit,
machine. I
yeah.
love it.
So I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
coming
so
up with this
cool.
as I go along. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but on the journey to the future, in your future as well, what are you hoping that it's going to look like? What are you hoping the young Joy is going to see?
The young Joy.
Mm.
Me now?
The
Or,
young,
or
the young Joy. What are you
what?
hoping she's going to see? What kind of future are you going to take her to? This is a future for
Well,
both of you.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking that
Mm.
within that context. Messages of hopefully that my song messages actually make a difference to people and empower people that they could take away the messages and use it for something positive. Enlightenment, where I want it to be is that's my only hope is actually just to guide people into the light. I swear that's actually my actually that's my mission, to guide people into the light, because it just really hurts me that people are so ignorant of what is going on. People haven't got a clue what's going on in the world. There's two worlds. There's the seen world and there's the unseen world. And I'm sure you're aware of that. There are forces, there's good forces and dark forces. People don't have a clue about that. And I know about that. And it's my mission. That's the only thing. For if that one thing I'll say, right, I can hang up my hats, I'm happy I've done that, is to open people's eyes. That's what I want them to see. Well, you know what? Through that person, I tell you what, yeah, I learned this, I learned that. Oh, I never knew that this existed. And this is the whole essence of Akashic Gods in a nutshell, is to really, really, really bring people into the light. That's the only way, and to save souls.
Well, maybe
100%
we
to
can
save
help each
souls.
other do that together. Doesn't
Yeah.
have to be you alone.
Oh no, I can
Indeed.
never do that on my own. We can't. That's the essence of. That's why I like your show, i.e., for instance, is absolutely amazing, because you've got such a diverse range of topics and points and points of view that once that can be made. The points can be made across, so I can make these points and speak about all various topics, because it's not just on the one thing, because it's a very diverse. Obviously, I'm sure I don't know that you have lots of different people come from different walks of life and whatever. Yeah, so it's diverse, so that when you could touch on different subjects, basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah. And haven't we gone on a wonderful journey today? I feel so great to have heard your journey. I really do appreciate you sharing. At this point, I want to know, I've heard your stuff on Spotify. Where do I find more about you? Where do I find your music?
Well, at the moment, I'm just kind of just in process of getting ready to release another track uh, soon, the next few weeks, called Karmic Justice. And that's just what we were talking about, the essence of, what people are doing in our hearts and our ambitions and whatever. So, but where I could be found, I'm just on the usual platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, there. So just under the name of Akashic Gods. And I think I better spell that out, because
Yeah, well,
people seem to have a hard time
well,
pronouncing that.
yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll make sure I put a link in the comments below to find all your music and to find all your social media networks, so that everyone can find you nice and easy.
Yeah,
And let's see
as
if I can
well.
get it right this one last time. Akashic.
Oh my God, you got it
See,
perfectly.
it's once you say it, Akashic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you familiarize yourself with it, it rolls off the
It
tongue.
rolls
nice
off
and-
the tongue.
tongue
Even
nice
now,
and
I even
easy.
had an issue with it. But so it's spelled Akashic, and then separate word gods, Gods. Yeah, so Akashic Gods. So that's pretty much it. And I've got to thank you, first of all, Martin, for having me on the show, because I've always been a great fan of your show and what you do. I love stuff you're
I
doing with the
appreciate it.
Muppets, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
is
Yeah,
so
having a lot of
cool.
fun.
I saw that. I thought, my goodness, I grew up with the Muppet show. I love it, darling.
Yeah, well,
Fierce.
the Muppets, things
Right.
like that, they informed my creativity,
Yeah.
and more than my creativity,
Yeah.
they kind of taught me who I should be as a human being.
You see, there you go. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what? In fact, everything we've just been saying, those are the magical words to teach us so we have to know what it is to be a human being.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's a magical thing. We harness the power of we could do incredible things. And it's just knowing how to harness that power in the right way. So I highly, really appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege, and massively, massively, massively humbled and very, 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 very grateful for this amazing opportunity.
Joy,
So,
I feel the same as well.
yeah,
Thank you.
so I got to say thank you too. And yeah, so that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you. And yeah, if anyone has been watching or listening, thank you for joining us for this conversation. We appreciate you as well.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for listening. So, that's our message for today, that we need to go out there. Let's try and find out who we are as human beings. Let's move towards the light, send messages of hope, positivity, to all listeners and followers. And let's just harness the power of our minds as well. So yeah, so that's the message from Akashic Gods. And once again, Martin, thanks very much for having me on the show, and thanks everybody for listening and watching.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks again.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Well done. You're wonderful. That was a wonderful conversation. We can go. We can stay.
Greater is he who's in us than he who's in the world. If you could hold the world with mortal hands, watch heaven's armies take a stand. Where you go from here is just a matter of time. I'm in this race to the promised land. Joy and woe are woven fine, like a dress for the soul divine. Charmed by tricks, the world's deceiving eye. Would you spill the truth or buy the lie? Between gods and the machines, we fly like a forgotten dream. Break this pride as we roll like a never-ending jet stream. Oh, why don't we sanctify as the end justifies the means? Between gods and the machines, is this a vision or a waking dream? Plugged in this society of spectacles, we're hypnotized by the silver screen. Blind to always right in the mind that's expressed, deaf as his blood speaks supreme. Raging like a love machine as bright stars throw down their spells. The sun don't doubt why the eternal shout when we can build heaven or hell's despair. Between gods and the machines, we fly like a forgotten dream. Break this pride as we roll like a never-ending jet stream. Oh, why don't we sanctify as the end justifies the means? Between gods and the machines, is this a vision or a waking dream? Bending humanity to man, in light of time and tide waits for no man. Between clouds of promises and vanity, the truth brought about a change in me. Between gods and the machines, we fly like a forgotten dream. Break this pride as we roll like a never-ending jet stream. Oh, why don't we sanctify as the end justifies the means? Between gods and the machines, is this a vision or a waking dream? Is this my 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 vision or a waking dream? Free your mind from the matrix. Question everything.